And now for something completely different.
Forget everything you've been told by others before. Get ready for the real deal, the full story. Real talk about money, markets, life. Now, it's The Real Investment Show, presented by RIA Advisors.
And good morning. Welcome to Financial Fitness Friday. I'm Rich Rosso here with Danny Ratliff, CFP Squared. So I guess last week you had Matt in, huh?
Yeah, gave everybody an introduction.
How do you do?
Matt. He
did
great.
well?
Yeah.
Yeah. Matt's like the kind of guy you want to have a beer with, isn't he?
He is, yeah.
He seems entertaining.
He's a great addition to the team.
Yep.
Very well spoken, just a smart
Very
guy.
well
Been in the
spoken.
industry for a while.
Yep.
And I think,
One of our
great way to introduce him to a lot of people.
Yeah, support advisor here at RIA. Hopefully he will be looking to be on the radio again. I walked by his office yesterday. He goes, oh. I said, hey, Matt. He goes, oh, you scared the heck out of me. I almost had a heart attack. Oh, man. So, very important day. It's jobs report day, but it's also National Donut Day. First Friday of June every year, right? So we got to watch out for your deals, everybody. Dunkin' Donuts, Shipley's, all kinds of deals on free donuts today.
So are you a Dunkin' Donuts or Shipley's guy?
I'm not going to say. Listen, I'm donut agnostic. I will eat any kind of donut. I haven't had a donut in a while, and I won't be having one today, unfortunately. Yeah. But, man, I grew up on Dunkin'. But I do love, I love any... I can eat a donut out of a supermarket, like a gas station. I can go to a gas station and eat a donut, and I'm fine with it. I am just a donut freak. So,
see, I expected that, being from up north. I mean, down here we're Shipley's people.
Well, I like Shipley's too. I remember when I first got here, I'm like, where the heck are all the Dunkin' Donuts?
Yeah.
And someone told me, well, they failed. They were here. But now they seem to be making a comeback. I see them everywhere, which is great. But it took me had to wait 20 years.
And now you don't eat donuts.
Now I don't eat donuts, but I do drink the coffee. Danny looks like Miami Vice. It's like from Florida.
That's exactly what I was going for today.
I think he was going. I was saying Khalid, he was like a professor, but yeah. Very professorial today. Professor Ratliff in the house. And he's going to use the ruler. If you're misbehaving,
ruler, eraser,
whatever he's got to use. So again, we have a lot of big news, right? So this job report, everybody's watching it. What are the expectations for U.S. jobs? Most importantly, hourly earnings, right? So those numbers look like they're going to gradually continue to soften. That we're looking at a 0.3% increase, hopefully staying around the same, or maybe a little bit less. The market would love that. So, and we are seeing my call for no rate cuts this year may be wrong, because the economic numbers are absolutely starting to slow down. And then I looked at PCE yesterday, core PCE, core CPI. They are definitely accelerating down, and we are seeing the jobs market or the labor market normalizing and slightly weakening. I still don't think it's enough for the Fed to do anything, but they might.
Yeah, I don't think anybody knows, right? I mean, the market started off with expecting 6 rate cuts at the beginning of this year, and now we've pivoted to potentially 0. Now we're back to 2, and as we've seen, this data is going to consistently change. Yep. It is, in fact, transitory. And so,
did you say transitory?
Your favorite word. But that's I think, going to be the challenge that we're faced with right now. So will it continue to be good news is bad news and vice versa, or will it start to matter at some point? I think everybody's waiting for these rate cuts, but is that necessarily a good thing? I mean, is it where the market or the economy, just slows down enough, but doesn't go into a recessionary period, right, where we see contraction? I think that's going to be the key.
I absolutely do. And again, I think it's always the anticipation of the rate cuts. Mm-hmm. But when the Fed's actually starting to cut, markets don't look too good. So this leading the market on per se seems to be working. And then we have Nvidia splitting 10-for-1. That's going to happen at the close of if you own this stock as of the close of business yesterday, you're going to get 9 additional shares for every share you own after the market closed today.
Now, each share is going to be worth 1/10 of what it is. But yeah, if you're one of those who wants to own a bunch of shares, you're in luck.
Man, let me tell you. So all you have to do, I guess, is own Nvidia. Nothing else. Who cares about Procter & Gamble and all the other stocks?
GameStop.
Remember the highest flying stock during the pandemic? One of them?
Which one?
Clorox.
Yeah.
Everybody
Clorox,
was bleaching.
Zoom.
Hillary Clinton used Clorox. Everybody's using Clorox. So Clorox was the thing. Just shows you, though, don't get too comfortable. Stocks fall in and out of favor. I call it the spotlight, right? So all these AI stocks are absolutely in the spotlight. But sooner or later, the spotlight shifts. You don't want to be stuck holding the donut or the donut hole, because that's the only part of the donut I can eat is the part in the middle.
The hole?
Yeah, nothing there. So again, we got some big numbers today. I think that'll drive, overall drive the market. We'll have to see where we go. So we've seen bonds pull back, bond yields pulling back. That's been good, right? So I think the bond market's anticipating slower growth, but not enough, I don't think, to pull the Fed into a cut.
It's amazing to watch and see how quickly these markets have changed. Think about just talking about bonds. Just 2-3 weeks ago, we were over 4.7 on a 10-year. Mm-hmm. And now we're down to 4.2 and change, 4.29. Mm-hmm. So, you got a 40 basis point drop.
Yep.
In a matter of a couple of weeks and a swing upwards. We saw that as we thought economic data was a little bit stronger. Earnings were pretty good.
Yeah. We saw the yields start to heat up, and now they're pulling back again.
So Lance has mentioned maybe this is setting in a double top, and we're going to actually see that we've set those highs in yields. But it's going to be completely dependent on this data, I think.
It is. But the thing is, and we say this quite a bit, you can't trade based on just these numbers coming out because you'll get knee-jerked all over the place. So it's best to have a portfolio that you agree with. You're not going to have everything in AI. You're going to have some boring stuff. You're going to have some value-based stuff. You're going to own dividend stocks. That's okay. That's absolutely okay. Narratives pull markets. We invest in narratives. We understand narratives eventually just become part of the mainstream. They go away. Stories end and new stories begin. And that's what drives markets short term. Long term, you got to look at the numbers, realize where you are. Listen, you can't look at Nvidia and go, hey, wow, this is a good deal. You buy that stock based on the narrative and where the potential might be. And you shut your eyes, you hold your nose, and you hit the button. JC says, Buc-Cee's donuts are nice. Anything Buc-Cee's makes. Everything Buc-Cee's makes is nice. Brent's fond of the
beaver nuggets?
The beaver nuggets. And they even have them chocolate-coated now. Chocolate-covered beaver nuggets. Oh,
Jerky?
Yeah, he's the jerky guy. Yeah.
Which brand of jerky do you like?
Well, they got that whole...
Not the brand, but the seasoning.
I like the cherry honey smoked jerky. Yeah.
That was ironically his nickname in high school.
That's right.
All right.
Jerky.
Cherry honey. It sounds like a bad 70s film on Times Square. We'll be right back.
Get daily investment news you can use, delivered at the speed of the internet at realinvestmentadvice.com.
The Real Investment Show YouTube page has all of our videos ready for your easy access. From 3 minutes on markets and money to each day's radio shows like Technically Speaking Tuesday, Financial Fitness Friday, and the latest analysis from Lance Roberts and Michael Leibowitz. Subscribe and bookmark our YouTube channel for The Real Investment Show. Or just click on the show links at realinvestmentadvice.com.
When it comes to wealth management, most people think of stocks and bonds, but it's like enjoying one layer in a 7-layer cake. At RIA Advisors, we want to make sure you get your cake and eat it too. Social Security, Medicare, creating a tax-friendly retirement paycheck. Perhaps you're saving for college. How about life insurance, guaranteed income solutions, all along with comprehensive planning. At RIA, a holistic approach to your money is our priority. Call us today, 855-RIA-PLAN, or find us online at realinvestmentadvice.com. realinvestmentadvice.com.
The Real Investment Show.
Small businesses are discovering that attracting and retaining top talent come down to more than just salary. In today's highly competitive job market, compensation is more than just wages. Hi, I'm Tom Allen, RIA Advisors Retirement Plan Consultant. Healthcare and retirement plans can make the difference in hiring and retaining the best employees. We can show you how to build an affordable, effective employment package that delivers true value for your workers and your business. Call me toll-free at 855-RIA-PLAN or online at realinvestmentadvice.com.
And now, another page from the Real Investment Advisors Investing Manifesto. Bulls win in bull markets. Bears win in bear markets. Eagles soar above and take advantage of opportunity. Let us help you soar as you reach your financial goals with RIA Advisors. Neither bull nor bear. RIA Advisors, 281-501-1791 or online at realinvestmentadvice.com.
You're listening to The Real Investment Show.
Guess what's coming? The Texas Stock Exchange, Danny. I think I saw this on an episode of Dallas. JR, we're going to create a stock exchange. That sounds good, Daddy. I know someone who'll run it, too. Janet Yellen. Come to think of it, Bobby, get in here. You'll run the stock exchange. JR's a loser.
Oh, man.
How do you like this
Dealing with this all day.
Texas Stock Exchange thing? I think it's pretty interesting. Reduce fees, create incentives, improve liquidity. Also, keep in mind, NASDAQ has gone woke. Right? So you have boardroom diversity standards, women on the board, which I'm fine with, of course, LGBTQ members, and the criteria to list is becoming a little bit more uncomfortable. And we are seeing a lot of companies, financial companies, move to the Sun Belt, right? We're seeing a lot of financial companies move to Texas and Florida. Dallas has become a really big hub for a lot of financial services firms now.
So if you get delisted from the Texas Stock Exchange, do they give you the boot?
Yeah. You're going to the OK Corral. So it's going to be interesting to see how that works. So you have Southeast Texas leading the nation in economic expansion and population growth, right? You have more Fortune 500 companies here than any other state. It sort of makes sense based on what's going on in the Northeast. I mean, I don't think it's ever going to replace the New York Stock Exchange, and Musk is behind this too. He sees a market for this. So this is just going to be a very interesting experiment. Don't you think so, Bobby?
I think I've been surprised at the amount of grief that Governor Abbott has received from this.
Oh,
I mean,
well,
this
of course
should be,
he was.
a job maker. You're bringing in, businesses.
No,
I can't
no.
see the.
We don't like this idea.
I don't see the negative to it.
Well, it's because it's based on business principles and things that we used to look at. That's what it's
Value.
Yeah, it's not based on the other element and what could be coming down the road. Okay, because even though you think ESG is dead, it's just simmering in the background. So, what's interesting? I think BlackRock is behind some of this too.
Well, that's, I think, where the majority of the grief comes from is,
They've sort of
BlackRock.
switched they sort of switched their tune.
Well, I don't know if it's switching their tune. I mean, I told you a while back that I visited, I had I was able to have dinner with Larry Fink a couple months ago, and it was interesting. We talked about the grief that he receives. He said, "Listen, we're a for-profit business."
Did he get a lot of grief at that?
Well, he gets a lot of grief. He's like, I get a
When
lot
he
of
goes
grief
to
when I
Texas.
come down here because of my clean energy investments. But up north, I get a lot of grief from the opposite because of my oil and gas interest, right? So the guy had like over $300 billion.
It wasn't
worth.
even the fact that he invests in clean energy. There's a market for that.
Yeah.
If there's a market for it, by all means do it, right? It was the commanding narrative that everybody had to do this.
Well, you have a product, right? The ESG. I mean, and so I get he's playing both sides of the coin. So it's going to frustrate you if you lean one way or the other, and you have a strong belief system and that, hey, this is the way it needs to be done. I think there's probably could be a space for both if it's done properly. But that's the problem. I think when you're in big business like those guys are, you're always going to make somebody mad.
What's good is you have more competition around quote activity, liquidity, transparency. So, I mean, I don't know if this is going to work, frankly. What do you mean it's not going to work? JR, take this guy out. Take this guy, somewhere. We don't need him here. Right away, Daddy. It's a terrible.
Well, maybe it doesn't work, but
They take him to the train station is what they would do, but that's wrong show.
yeah.
I think you're right, though. I think this kind of competition
It's good.
will
What's
force the New York Stock Exchange to tighten up.
To see the migration of population growth, you look at the size. Do you ever see these pictures of cities? Like they show what they look like in 2001, 2002. There were a few of them. Dallas, which overwhelmed me. Like when you see in other words, if you did the opening of Dallas, the show, and compared it today, you would be you would be shocked. That market, and North Texas has grown so tremendously. Prosper used to be this sort of sleepy town, really nice little town. It is exploding. So you have to recognize that people are moving. So everybody says, oh my gosh, a civil war is coming. No, it's a civil migration. Red and blue states are galvanizing, and people are picking up and moving to where their political affiliations are. It's not a war, but it is a movement and not only that, pro-business, right? More lower costs of living. Although I read some reports that Florida now is unaffordable.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me with the cost of
because
homes.
of how many people have moved to Florida.
Yeah. But what you're mentioning though, that goes for everything that we do. I mean, the competition is good. It's either going to compress pricing over time, or it's also going to make these companies provide more value. And so I'm a big fan of this. I think this is good. I don't see how the individual investor has anything to lose from this.
If anything, the individual investor will win from this.
Yeah, I think so. Now,
unless there's some underhanded kind of some stuff that they're going to pull off in the Northeast that's going to make it less appetizing. But I do think there's
going to be something, that.
Yes. I do absolutely agree. They'll probably start with maybe small orders circulating through. And remember, again, you have a lot of big financial firms that process orders that are in Texas.
Well, this will be great because you remember back in the old days, it was, everybody was trying to see how close they could actually get to the physical market so they could trade first, right? Because they're getting data, trying to rely on that algorithm that's trading, right? So it was all about whose cables could hook up as quickly as possible to the exchanges. And now that obviously the world has changed, technology has become that much better, this will create a different type of buzz, I think, in accessibility to markets for companies that maybe weren't able to do so back then.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, retail. If you're a retail client, you place your own trades, I think actually it's a win. Now we'll just have to see how it operates, where it's going to be. So, and with BlackRock, at least listen, I mean, as bad as Larry Fink is, he is successful. Yeah. And some of the views he takes make me sort of cringe sometimes, but he is successful. He must see something in this, or BlackRock sees some potential in this, which makes me feel more positive about the Texas Stock Exchange.
Yeah, I agree. Wish it were headquartered here, but
Yeah, wouldn't go well here.
It doesn't matter.
If all the traders that come in, if their cars have catalytic converters, they wouldn't work.
It'd be gone.
They'd be gone. So Houston wouldn't be a good place for that.
Oh, man.
So, but again, it's going to be interesting times as the population moves and more people amass, and businesses, most importantly, amass. Who's the guy, Kevin O'Leary? Mm-hmm. Who's talking about that he would never open a business
in New York
again. Yeah. And this guy does fund a lot of businesses. So the practicality of it is the Northeast is dying when it comes to businesses overall. And actually, I don't really think they care. I don't think business is their thing overall. I don't think it's number one on their hit parade. I just don't. I don't think they're pro-business and they don't care. I think they're happy to promote that they're not. They don't really.
Which is crazy because, you think about the economies
they need
there
the taxes,
and things
right?
that they've done. Yeah. I mean, you are pushing your revenue out.
Yes.
Is essentially what you're doing. I mean, you're cannibalizing yourself. You're eating yourself.
It's economic suicide.
Yeah.
It is. It's a very weird way to run things, but it is what it is, and that's why people are moving. So again, we'll keep you up to date with this. I do think it's a positive development, and I think it's warranted to see where it goes.
So are you going to be getting on to Roaring Kitty's live stream here in a bit?
Oh, is that? I thought it was Hello Kitty.
I don't know.
It's not Hello Kitty. No, it's Roaring Kitty. That guy. I don't know how he's getting away with half the stuff he's getting away with.
You'd think the SEC would be banging down his door.
You would think. If they're not, they will be.
Well, but I think this also goes to show the change that we've had.
I like Hello Kitty
in trading, right? I mean,
yeah.
Now that you can announce it to the world, everything that you're doing, it's a big difference. And at what point does free speech become market manipulation? I mean, if I did that, nobody would care, right? But when he goes and does it, now granted, he's got some huge following, right?
Yeah.
But big difference. So I don't know. Cool story, though. Taking $53,000.
$53,000 is what he started with, right?
Yeah, supposedly to, $1 billion. But, as Lance said, we were talking about this Wednesday. He's got to have some investors in there somewhere, you would think.
I think he picks them up along the way as what he's doing gains attention, right? Mm-hmm. He picks up cash along the way. And
you would think so.
Yeah, I would think. I can't imagine that that's not the case. JR, I got Bobby running the stock exchange, but I also like this Ratliff guy. I think he'll be good. I like him.
That's just the endorsement I needed. Thanks.
We'll be right back.
The Real Investment Advice blog. It's required reading for the informed investor. Catch it today at realinvestmentadvice.com.
Oh, Red, I declare, I plumb missed that Candid Coffee. Whatever am I gonna do?
Don't you worry, little darling. We'll watch it again on our YouTube channel.
Why, Red, I never.
The Real Investment Show YouTube channel has all of our past presentations, from Candid Coffee and Lunch and Learn to special topic discussions, and all of our live show recordings preserved for you. Subscribe now to the Real Investment Show YouTube channel, or look for the link on our website at realinvestmentadvice.com.
Hi, Lance Roberts here. If you're like most people, your 401k plan represents the bulk of your retirement assets, and unfortunately for many, managing your 401k plan can be difficult. There's so many choices, so many things to consider. With just a quick email, a couple of questions, you can put RIA advisors to work for you managing your 401k plan. Just simply click Ask a Question at realinvestmentadvice.com or give us a call at 855-RIA-PLAN. That's realinvestmentadvice.com.
The Real Investment Show.
And now, another page from the Real Investment Advisors Investing Manifesto. Manage risk and volatility rather than trying to manage gains. You don't have to be right all the time. Long-term investing success is a 70% gain. Let us help you reach your financial goals with RIA Advisors. Neither bull nor bear. RIA Advisors, 281-501-1791 or online at realinvestmentadvice.com.
Can't catch the whole show now? Listen to our podcast later at realinvestmentadvice.com.
In the last 2 years, there's been a massive drop-off. Like, nobody's naming their kid Alexa anymore. But yeah, because you go, Alexa, stop that, and all your lights go off.
The Real Investment Show podcast.
And I'm sure the kids at school were getting teased. You know, hey, Alexa, ask a question.
Same show, your schedule.
I hadn't heard of any kids being named Siri.
Not yet. I'm sure there are. I am sure there are. And there's probably some kid named Bixby somewhere.
At realinvestmentadvice.com.
When it comes to wealth management, most people think of stocks and bonds, but it's like enjoying one layer in a 7-layer cake. At RIA Advisors, we want to make sure you get your cake and eat it too. Social Security, Medicare, creating a tax-friendly retirement paycheck. Perhaps you're saving for college. How about life insurance, guaranteed income solutions, all along with comprehensive planning? At RIA, a holistic approach to your money is our priority. Call us today, 855-RIA-PLAN, or find us online at realinvestmentadvice.com. Realinvestmentadvice.com.
Health and financial security touches everyone within your organization. Offering benefits for all doesn't need to be complicated. Hi, I'm Tom Allen, Senior Benefits Consultant at RIA Advisors. RIA Benefits provides independent expertise to find solutions that speak to the mission of your business, the culture you want to establish, and the budget you are able to work within. Book a free consultation with me at realinvestmentadvice.com/retirement, and we'll find a solution that takes care of your most important asset, your people. realinvestmentadvice.com/retirement, realinvestmentadvice.com.
The Real Investment Show YouTube channel has all our videos ready for your easy access, like Technically Speaking Tuesday, Financial Fitness Friday, plus each day's radio shows. Subscribe and bookmark our YouTube channel at realinvestmentadvice.com.
You're listening to The Real Investment Show.
Stan goes, what's the difference between Roaring Kitty and CNBC? They are both just pushing stocks. Yep. I think CNBC has a litter box for some of their reporters, too. So I think that really absolutely does work. Makes a lot of sense. Hey, so we're having another Candid Coffee coming up, Saturday, June 29th. Going back to the core, to the origins of what it is. Live chat. Anything that's on your mind. Interest rates, Social Security, gold. You got any questions you want to ask. Submit your questions. Register at realinvestmentadvice.com.
I think we'll have that registration live later this morning.
Later this morning.
Yeah.
According to Roaring Brent. We're going to have that ready for you. So it's going to be interesting. So again, jobs report will absolutely move the market. Roaring Kitty, I don't think is going to do anything. Just, I have a spray bottle full of water for Roaring Kitty if he comes near me. I don't need that dude near me. So,
how much Dunkin' Donuts do you have this morning?
Yeah,
I didn't have any, but
I'm not eating donuts.
I'm doing good.
Yeah.
Or I'm more annoying than usual. Yeah.
Well, that just goes to show you, though, look at what happens. They just reported a 29% decline in sales, a $32 million loss for the first quarter, and yet, stocks the stock has been going through the roof.
Which is that?
GameStop.
Oh, GameStop. Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Nobody cares. Again, it's markets have always been stories and narratives. Listen, when my uncle was a stockbroker, they actually did study, by the way. Believe it or not, they studied companies. But to make you or help you or just, get you to excited. They'd have to give you a story about the company, right? They'd have to make it exciting for you to say, okay, I'll buy 200 shares of XYZ. So narrative economics has always been there. Now it's just a proliferation based on how these stories travel. And that fever pitch is a lot hotter. But keep in mind, anything that burns so hot eventually burns away. So I think you're sort of in the middle of that with a lot of these AI stocks. I don't think you're at the end of your narrative yet, but, these things do end. There's going to be a number that Nvidia cannot hit based on expectations. And then there'll be this whole reset. But it takes a while. It takes a while for these stories to work through.
And when you're priced to perfection, at some point, you're not going to hit.
Absolutely.
We took some profits from it not long ago. We've done that numerous times. But, at some point, you need to start saying that. How do you start to extract some of the gain that you've had? And at what point do they get to a point where, competition begins to catch up? They're not the only company that can make chips.
Yes.
And what if, we saw like Microsoft, Apple, those guys that Nvidia seems to be relying on for some of their biggest customers. What if they say, you know what? We can do this too. We're sitting on a pile of cash. Should we start making our own chips?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's out of the question.
Down the road, it isn't. And again, I don't think it's this savior as everybody's thinking. We've been using AI for a very long time in some form. So I think we have put it up on a pedestal, and we're going to need to notch it down once we see the real application of it. I don't think it's going to be this savings grace as everybody thinks it is overall, at least if up front. So, and I'm talking about moderation of what you expect. And to your point, Danny, that could be painful for a few people. That could be painful for, depending on where you buy in the cycle. That's why we always follow rules. The one thing we do know is the economy is absolutely not working at the same torrid pace. So you might be one of these people that gets a severance package. Now, there are a lot of companies around town here offering severance packages, and we've had to assess, help people make decisions. Now, there are some people who are close to retirement that, even though the severance package looks attractive, they can't take it. They need the money from the job. And they don't feel they'll be able to get a job that pays them the same. But more people than not, if you're 2 years, 3 years from retirement, a severance can really get you off your seat and out of the building, which means, one, your job is gone, and that's where AI does come into play, or they're going to replace you with someone that will make a third of what you're currently making. So the process itself can be a little bit overwhelming.
Okay, but this can be a blessing too for a lot of people. How many people have you known that have maybe hung on a little bit because they knew job cuts were coming and likely severance packages were going to be rolled out, and effectively they were able to retire and maybe even retire a little bit earlier and still get paid like they were working up until their initial thought, the time that they were going to retire.
Right.
So
it does become
or
a
maybe
blessing.
even longer.
Yes. So sometimes, to your point, it does become a blessing in disguise for some people. And there are some people that have like a sixth sense when it comes to like, I have a feeling. It's just so funny how I have this happen with people I talk to. I have a feeling I might be getting offered a package, and then like a year or two later, they get offered a package.
Yeah.
And that's what they've been waiting for. Then there are some people that say, if they say to themselves, gosh, if I would have waited, like I retired, if I would have darn waited 6 months longer, if I would have hung it out, I would have stayed with the company, I would have got a severance. I mean, you don't know that. It's hindsight. But there are people going, darn, I just retired from this company. I got a call from someone yesterday. My company's offering severance. I retired 3 months ago, and I'm not entitled. I said, well, in all fairness, you didn't know. You were ready to go. In other words, to your point, it's a psychological issue up front. Before you get into all the important financial considerations, there is a flow of emotion that goes through this. When you're offered it, if you take it, how your life's going to change. Some people pushed into retirement, not ready. Will they go back to work? How will they do it? This self-assessment comes in a hurry, don't you think?
Oh, in a big hurry. It's easy to be remorseful when we do something and then, the retirement is rolled out, the severance package or, and that's the thing is you can't look in the rearview mirror so much, but you do need to kind of understand, get a feeling for what's going on in the room.
Yes.
And maybe you do want to hang on a little bit longer. And I've had that happen too, where somebody was going to go ahead and retire, but they knew that severance packages may be coming. And they said, I'll stick it out a little longer, see what happens. And I can tell you a lot of times they've had that, the ability to retire and get a little bit more, coin in their pocket, which is great.
That's great. Yeah. Yeah. And they're not done working. They're not done in the workforce. They're just going to do something different.
Yeah. So if you're out there right now and you think that you could potentially be, on the brink of retirement, on the brink of potential severance package, you may be looking for another job, but these are things that, everybody's thinking about because I think we're beginning to see more and more of this. What are the bigger things that somebody needs to think about, Rich?
Well, the tax timing, because your severance package, depending on how big that package is going to be, can really upset your taxes in one current year. Maybe you want it drawn out if you can, right? You can. So a lump sum could push you into a higher tax bracket, trigger greater capital gain liability, Medicare surtax. So you want to work with your tax advisor and then your employer's HR department to determine if this is viable. So I have one client that was able to do this because it's so close. It's like he just got offered a severance and it was going to push him. And I said, well, do you want to just explore this option of could they move some part of your severance to January of next year? And he goes, oh, they're not going to do that. They did it.
Well, it never hurts to ask, right?
It doesn't hurt to ask. Most of them are going to probably say no, but I don't think it hurts to ask the question. If it's going to put you in a situation to push you into the next marginal bracket.
Now, be careful with this too, though, because if it is in the form of essentially a deferred comp, you are at the beck and call of whatever the company does. And if they were in a bad, a bad way financially,
they may not have to pay.
Well, that's right. They could file bankruptcy. Next thing you know, you're not getting paid anything.
Right.
So you do need to understand, what's going on with the company and the business as well as much as you can. So, but I love that idea. And I have seen that happen in work time and time again, where just like you said, they think, no way, they're never going to do that. And they're like, yeah, no problem. We can handle that. And especially if they're more inclined to do so, I think if it happens towards the end of the year, you could roll it out and say, hey, you know what? Can you roll that out until January?
Yep.
Or can we do part in December, part in January? And that helps. I mean, we want to keep and eliminate as much as we can in taxes, keep more money in your pocket, and that's all what this is about.
Absolutely.
So I think it's a great idea, and I think that's something that everybody should be asking.
Yeah, we're going to continue with this. So you got a severance package. What do you need to do when we return? Stay tuned.
Get daily investment news you can use, delivered at the speed of the internet at realinvestmentadvice.com.
It's back. Get ready for our next live chat edition of Candid Coffee with Richard Rosso and John Penn, Saturday, June 29th. Anything you want to know, we'll find the answer.
What's going to happen to interest rates?
Should I put all my money in gold?
Has Liz been working out?
Register now and submit your probing questions for John and Rich at realinvestmentadvice.com.
How far will Nvidia go?
What about Social Security?
Who does Mike Leibowitz's hair?
The live chat edition of Candid Coffee with Rosso and Penn. Register at realinvestmentadvice.com. Realinvestmentadvice.com.
Are those your pajamas?
Small businesses are now being challenged by the lack of employees and how to attract and recruit the best employees. To get the better employee, you'll have to offer a better package. Hi, I'm Tom Allen, RIA Advisors Retirement Plan Consultant. Don't assume a 401k plan is too costly or complicated for your small business to offer. Let us show you how to make the most of an affordable and effective plan that will deliver true value for your business and your employees. Call me toll free at 855-RIA-PLAN or online at realinvestmentadvice.com. That's realinvestmentadvice.com.
The Real Investment Show.
When it comes to wealth management, most people think of stocks and bonds, but it's like enjoying one layer in a 7-layer cake. At RIA Advisors, we want to make sure you get your cake and eat it too. Social Security, Medicare, creating a tax-friendly retirement paycheck. Perhaps you're saving for college. How about life insurance, guaranteed income solutions, all along with comprehensive planning? At RIA, a holistic approach to your money is our priority. Call us today, 855-RIA-PLAN, or find us online at realinvestmentadvice.com. realinvestmentadvice.com.
And now, another page from the Real Investment Advisors Investing Manifesto. A passive investment portfolio requires active risk management. It's not a choice, it's necessity. Diversification doesn't protect against risk of loss. Let us actively help you reach your financial goals with RIA Advisors. Neither bull nor bear. RIA Advisors, 281-501-1791 or online at realinvestmentadvice.com.
You're listening to The Real Investment Show.
Larry Smith says, don't eat those goldfish crackers before reading the ingredients. That is no lie.
We don't have goldfish in our house.
That's good.
Yeah, no. That's half the stuff. You know how many things are banned overseas that we have here?
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing.
Our diets are atrocious. I mean, what we put in our food is amazing.
Well, it's criminal what they allow.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, we could go on that for a while. I have a feeling.
You really do have to be mindful of what you eat, just only because of what you're saying. And in the 70s, it was all, if it was in a package, I ate it. So my girlfriend doesn't get that. Like a fresh donut versus one in a package in the gas station, I'm going for the one in the package because I'm programmed to eat. I mean, I'm mostly processed foods. In my DNA comes out processed foods. It's processed. But that was the thing in the 70s. That was the cool thing. Like, you know,
it was the new thing
TV,
too.
It was new. TV dinners and all this other stuff, right? So, but yeah, agree. So again, we're talking about severance packages. One of the things you want to do, if you have a high deductible, this is Danny's favorite, medical plan, you don't require the cash for living expenses. Maximize your contributions to the company's health savings account before your severance date. So remember the benefits of an HSA. Pre-tax, gross tax deferred, qualified expenses can be withdrawn. For qualified expenses, withdrawn free. Big limits could be bigger. Family contribution for 2024 is $8,300. Maximum contribution for individuals, $4,150.
And so what really Rich is talking about here is that, you know, obviously if you have to be on a high deductible health plan, number one.
You have to. You need to have an HSA, right?
Yeah, most of your employers are going to offer that if you are on a high deductible health plan. Now, you may not have access to an HSA through work, that's more and more uncommon if you are on that high deductible health plan. But you can also go set one up on your own. Mm-hmm. But if you have one and you're getting that severance package, and you know you can do the numbers, do the math, this may be a great time to put those funds aside if you have not already maxed that out.
Yes.
For the year. Go ahead and take that because it's going to give you that triple tax benefit. Going to go in, you're going to get a tax deduction. It's going to reduce your taxes. It's going to grow tax-free and come out tax-free in retirement, assuming you use this for medical expenses, which we all know those are going to continue to rise, and we, as we age, are going to spend more money in that area.
Right. So health savings account you can keep. You can allocate it among a series of mutual funds, create your allocation, and not touch it until later on.
Yep.
Let that money continue to grow. So the biggest question a lot of people have is lump sum or pension annuity. And that decision is very personal. And you have to model that out. Your financial advisor should be modeling that out. It's not automatically lump sum. You got to look at the viability of the pension, your current age, where interest rates are, family longevity, your overall health status. You want to leave a legacy to your family or not? The current state of your finances, how much cash flow do you have? They all play a part in the decision-making process. You can recreate a pension if you need to, outside of your company pension. But sometimes taking the pension annuity is most appropriate. You have to run the numbers between lump sum and pension. So I know, Danny, because you got to make the right decision depending upon cash flow in retirement and what your goals are. So it's not as cut and dry as most brokers will tell you that you automatically need to roll it over. It's you got to do the homework and help people understand what would be best.
That's right. And understanding yourself as far as what you do with funds. I mean, we've seen people who do make the decision to roll over and take the lump sum, and then they blow through the funds.
They blow through. Yeah.
And where a pension or annuity may be better in the sense that there's some guardrails, right? You're going to get X amount of income from it. It's going to come on a monthly basis historically. That can be beneficial. Now, you also need to understand the pitfalls of each. So, what I encourage everyone to do is make a pros and cons list. What's most important to you? Now, if you have that old school pension, which is great, we don't see those nearly as often as we used to, but understand what happens if you pass or you and your spouse pass. The kids or the beneficiaries don't get anything if you start taking payments. So, finally, over the last year or two, we've been able to go out and say, okay, on the secondary market, can you find something that like an income annuity that's going to provide the same benefit or more? Yes. Mm-hmm. And still, as we're utilizing the funds, there's still something left to the beneficiaries if something happens to you. That's one way to look at it. But you can also still create that income stream.
You absolutely can. Studies show people that have an annuity income stream spend more money in retirement because they know if they're getting a check in January, they're going to get another one in February. They'll spend the money. They'll use it and enjoy it. Compared to constantly monitoring withdrawal rates from stocks and bonds. But again, you have intentions, your longevity risk. There are a lot of ways to look at this. So fiduciary is going to help you be educated and make the right decision and reduce regret bias by picking the right choice.
Well, that's right. And you do hear, we hear the horror stories of people saying, I was visiting with so-and-so and they recommend I put everything I have into an annuity, right? Uh-huh. That's tied up. There's not the liquidity that they typically need. And while that monthly income payment may be really nice, but if you don't have anything else on the other side of the ledger to meet additional expenses, right?
Right.
Car breaks down, you lose your job if you're still working, things like that we need to be considering. Mm-hmm. That can become an issue. So we historically would never want to say, hey, put all of your eggs over here. We want to make sure that we are, utilizing different types of things for different reasons. And going back to that financial plan, I think that I have a hard time with, I hear the stories of people who are like, yeah, they just, in fact, visit with the client the other day, wife is going to retire. And they said, hey, we're going to put all of your funds into this annuity. And I said, well, how did they know that you needed this annuity? Uh-huh. And they're like, I don't know. So, well, did you guys do a plan is what I'm getting at. Mm-hmm. And they're like, no. I said, oh, but they said, put everything you have into this, right? And I said, yeah. I said, I don't know if that's right or wrong. I mean, that may be great, but let's update your financial plan to see if that's something that's even necessary or you need, and let's have that conversation. But without that plan, I find it really difficult to give anybody any advice on something like that.
People get sold annuities.
Yeah.
They don't get planned them. And that's why people hate them.
That's right.
I'm not saying that's a very general statement, but a lot of people dislike them because they don't understand them and then they didn't fit them into their retirement income strategy. And some people don't need them. Not everybody requires an annuity. They'll get it in the form of Social Security, and they don't need it. They've been good savers. They don't require it. So that's a great point. Also, you got to look at whether or not you're going to roll over your retirement plan into a self-directed individual retirement account, right? With a firm or a registered investment advisor, you'll have obviously most of the time, greater investment choices, possibly lower costs. If you're younger than 59 and a half, say at least 55, and require distributions to live, then it's probably best to leave the plan with the company and void the 10% early distribution penalty.
That's another one I see happen a lot too, right?
It does.
Somebody says, oh, just roll it over. Well, wait a second. Are you going to need any of this? Are you actually retired right now? There are ways for you to extract funds from there still without the 10% penalty, like doing a 72T distribution. However, we need to know exactly what you're doing, how you're doing it. Whereas if you had left it in the 401k and you're under 59 and a half, you could potentially tap those funds without that 10% penalty. Still taxed.
Mm-hmm. I have a client. I was the only one, he's a client of ours, who advised him not to roll it over because he was 56. Because he was taking
retiring.
Okay. And he needed the money. I said, well, if we do it this way, we can it'll be very complicated. But now he's 62. We're going to roll it over. Okay? So he made the right decision then. Now he's making the right decision now. So you've got to get the right information when it comes to this. Also, your stock option exercise considered, right? You have to consider taxes, expiration dates for any stock options, and how much you've had in company stock. Post-termination stock option rules, especially for vested options, right? So there's these termination deadlines that occur, and you have to exercise your window for your stock options, or you're going to leave money on the table. So knowing that schedule or the accelerated schedule based on the severance and termination is very, very important. Then also NUA. Right, Danny? So we have people that have accumulated company stock in their company retirement plan. You can complete an in-kind distribution of stock. And this happens for people that have very low cost basis in company stock. We see a lot with the oil and gas companies, don't we?
We do. So NUAs stands for net unrealized appreciation. So essentially it allows you to you have company stock inside of the plan. You have the ability to go out and move those funds to a taxable account. And instead of the distribution being fully taxable, it's essentially you're paying taxes on your cost basis,
right?
What you purchased it for, and then the appreciation you'd pay long-term capital gains when you liquidate. And so that's typically an analysis that would need to be done. We would not historically advise to just move everything and do that. Some may just be liquidated, and a portion may be moved over to do that. But it all has to be done in the same calendar year, and historically doing it all at once. This is a really great tax tool, another way that you can keep more money in your pocket.
Yep.
If you have company stock, we highly encourage you to see if that's something you can do. Could be a really nice kind of feather in your cap.
So don't panic. You have to plan. Keep your health care coverage in mind, including COBRA, especially if you're up against Medicare, because that could be a problem based on Medicare enrollment period, right? Your special enrollment period. We're going to have this available for you on a PDF eventually, so if you are going through a severance, but call us if you have any questions. We're happy to help. All right. Well, you all have a great weekend. Lance back on Monday. Thanks for being with us, everyone. Thanks, chat. We appreciate you.